So we're going to talk all things Grave Robber today. They've got they're on a compilation Metallica CD that I want to find out all about.
Lord works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Strike out the band, Sal. Our good friend Sal Polichetti going to be with us in a few weeks.
That's awesome.
We'll catch up with Sal and find out about his travels around the UK. But it's Grave Robber Day. I want to talk about Christmas songs, because why wouldn't you talk to Grave Robber about Christmas songs?
It's November, so it's Christmas season.
Yeah. And
its face says Christmas.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh man.
That is the face of Christmas right there.
That's it.
Yeah, see? And I also want to talk about just the inner workings of the band, because stop me if I'm wrong here, Wretched, I got a real Misfits kind of vibe off of you.
I think that is completely incorrect. There is no Misfits vibe. We are a direct ripoff. 100%.
Okay.
I wear that like a badge of honor. We've always had the criticism that we just sound like we're ripping off the Misfits, and by the same token, every metal band is ripping off another metal band, but no one seems to really say much about that. I love the sound of the Misfits, so that's just what we do.
I love it, by the way, and I didn't think of it as a ripoff, but when you say that, it's absolutely true, isn't it? I mean, if we didn't have the Misfits, we wouldn't have Grave Robber, we wouldn't have Metallica. Am I right, though?
Certainly.
Okay.
The Misfits, their influence can be understated, and for us, we just like the sound of that band, the aggression. It's an aggressive band with kind of sing-along choruses, and it's kind of poppy and neck, and we just like that. So that's what we gravitated toward as artists.
Yeah, and you still maintain that old school punk feel about you as well.
I think the only thing that we've done differently is I like to call us a punk band with metal muscle, because we're all certainly metal fans as well as punk rock fans. So there has to be that element of power, the way that a metal band has, but with more of a punk rock delivery, but with the aggression and power of a metal band. That's always our goal.
Yeah, I dig it. I was listening again this morning, and I couldn't really find anything I didn't like. I really did like just about everything I heard. And you guys even have an acoustic album, don't you?
That was born out of a situation where we had several bookings and a drummer who quit. When the drummer, we were in a situation where we just don't cancel gigs. It's not something we do. So we decided to play acoustically, something we had never done. And it went over so well, we figured we would record some of those songs. And we recorded them. And we had 5 songs that we recorded, and decided on that particular project to open it up to fans and friends of the band to record their own versions of Grave Robber songs. And it's a very special project to me. And there are several songs on there by other artists who I could not have imagined taking the approach that they took. So it was quite an honor to hear the finished product and the finished songs by other people. To me, that was more exciting than our songs.
Yeah, I was listening. It's called Be Afraid, right?
No, it's called Dry Bones.
Dry Bones? Okay, I was
our first record.
Okay, I was listening to Be Afraid, right? Maybe I'm talking about the wrong album, Aaron. I'm sorry.
Be Afraid is not acoustic. Uh, Dry
Okay.
Bones is the acoustic
Dry
record.
Dry
Yes.
Bones. Okay. I remember listening to it and I went, that's a nice palate cleanser, because you still have that grave robber feel, but it was just a nice palate cleanser. And then it went back to the grave robber stuff.
Yeah, the thing that I like about it is that it kind of explores our more gothic side, less punk, more gothic. We're very close friends with a band from Chicago called Lipper, and I myself have collaborated with him many times, with Scott Shaw from Leper, and I never thought of myself as a goth. I never thought of our music as being um, interesting or something that someone who's into goth would like because of the fast tempos and the aggression. But oddly enough, we've got a lot of goth fans. I think just because of the aesthetic and because of maybe the more baritone style of vocals. And so anyway, Scott and I have collaborated a lot, and in fact, Leper has a song on our Dry Bones record. And Scott is a very close dear friend, and it's kind of taught me that I'm a lot more goth than I probably realized.
Aaron, I gotta admit, I'm a little intimidated, as I watch Wretched's face here. um,
Listen, Dave. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
He just wishes he had hair like you.
Yeah,
That's
I do.
just it.
Seriously.
I mean, look at these locks. Who wouldn't want this?
I mean, is that Head and Shoulders or Purd, or do you like Vidal Sassoon or what?
It's dirt.
Well, it works for you. It works for you.
When you spent the amount of time digging your way out of the grave as I have, it just naturally happens.
I gotta jump on this real fast. On the top of your Spotify playlist, the one that is in the number one spot, I Want to Kill You Over and Over Again. What's that about? What's that about?
When I rise up out of my ribs, I look into the mirror and I see this face and see these lines on my face and recognize that they match the scars on my heart, and I'm reminded of the evil that I am capable of. And I look at that image and I say, I want to kill you over and over again. So it's a song of dying daily. It's a song of well, recognizing that I have to die to myself and die to my pride and die to my ego. I mean, after all, that is what the Reanimator calls us to do, is it not?
It is.
Amen.
It is. It's just such an in-your-face title that I'm like, I just need to know what this one's about. So,
Yes, that's pretty much our MO, is being in your face. I mean, we have never held back anything, ever. I grew up in an era where there were bands that professed what they believed with passion and with you didn't have to guess. Now we live in an age where is this band or is this band not?
yeah.
With us, there's no question. However, I will say this is maybe something quite confusing, that we don't market ourselves as a Christian band, and there's a reason why. Not because we have any shame or whatsoever. If someone asks us, "Are you a Christian band?" Yes, without hesitation. But like missionaries that go into hostile territories, They don't come in waving flags. They come in taking care of the personal and physical needs of the people that they are serving. In our case, the physical need is people want to be rocked. So we go in and we give them the best possible show that we can possibly give them, and then they are open to a discussion. If we go in with the discussion first, many people have a preconceived idea of what it means to be a Christian band. They won't listen. In fact, they won't even show up. And if they did show up, they'd probably do an about face and walk right out. So we don't market it as a Christian band. We are a horror punk band. But let's be very, very clear. The members of Grave Robber have all died a wonderful death and been brought back to life by the reanimator. Stone hearts become flesh. This is not the image of death and destruction. This is what it looks like to be in the process of coming from death to life. So we stand our ground almost violently, vehemently about what we believe and who we are as followers of the reanimator. I think that's far more important than a name tag.
Absolutely. I like how you put that, because one of my questions was going to be, what do you say to the mom? Because like my mom growing up would have let me listen to you guys. If she had seen you, she never would have let me listen. What do you say to the mom out there whose, teenage son is all into Grave Robber, but she wants something positive?
Well, that's a part of what we do, is get people to question, to think, ask those questions, to I guess, use the intellect that we've been given. What does evil look like? Some people would say evil looks like this. And I would say, based on what? And who told you that? Some people would say evil looks scary. Well, when I read the ancient scrolls, it doesn't sound scary to me. It looks appealing, titillating, exciting, desirable. Things that are evil want to draw me in. Things that are evil want me to love them above the reanimator. I mean, if I have a issue of Fangoria magazine sitting right next to the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, which one's going to turn you on more? Fangoria? I don't think so. So which one is the greater evil? And it's not about comparing evil to evil. It's about getting people to understand that appearances are no evil. Evil dwells in man's heart. Evil dwells in the flesh. Evil is in the air. And
Wow.
someone might look evil, but the days are evil. Something might look evil because Hollywood told you that it was evil. The problem with that is even the reanimator was accused of deriving power from Beelzebub, the perfect man, the perfect sacrifice, the Lamb of God, who takes away the sins of the world, was accused of being in league with Satan because of how he appeared or how he looked. Now, I believe one of the most misquoted verses in all of Scripture is avoid the appearance of evil. That word appearance doesn't mean how something looks. The word appearance means the occasion of, like a Bigfoot sighting. Oh, there was an appearance of Bigfoot. Well, Bigfoot doesn't, no one looks at Bigfoot and says, oh, he's evil. But what they say is, we may have seen a Sasquatch. So avoid doing things that look evil. avoid behaviors that are evil. Now, that's a long-winded answer to the moms, but a better answer is this. We don't do music for moms.
Well,
In
my
fact, in fact, we don't really even do music for Christians. We were never designed to be Christian entertainment. I am so thankful that we have many, many fans of Grave Robber who follow the Reanimator, but that was not our first mission. Our first mission was to go into the deepest, darkest places that would open the door for us and let us truly be salt and light. That was our first calling. Entertaining Christians once in a while, I think there's more of an advantage for us than it is for the audience because it's good to be, I guess, playing a home court advantage show once in a while. But that's not why we exist. We exist to take a message of hope into hopeless places.
Well, and it's working. I mean, you have a following, and that brings me to one of my next questions, though, which is I was flipping through your Facebook and I saw some pictures and stuff, and you've played some big stages and you played some tiny stages, and you strike me as the type of band that can put on quite the show on a large stage. Do you feel constrained at all on a tiny stage, or do you put on that same 110% show?
Go the 110, but yes, it's better on a bigger stage, not because of the lights, not because of the PA, but because I need room to rock. I need space. I need the guitar player not stepping all over me, and I don't need to step on the bass player. So yes, more room is a better show.
Sure. Sure.
But it's the same show on a big stage or on a small stage. We don't know how to do it any other way, to be honest with you. Some of the props that we use don't fit on smaller stages, and we just have to make that call when we get there, or return to a place that we've been before where it has a smaller stage. But we are not rock stars. We are servants. And after 18 years, I don't imagine that one day I'm going to wake up and discover that I have the career of Skillet or the career of, Demon Hunter. We don't get that. We're not that kind of band. My wife says it's kind of because of this face that we aren't bigger. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm kind of cute, but whatever.
Well, I was just gonna say your wife clearly sees the beauty within.
Well, it would have to be the beauty within, wouldn't it?
Well, I want to move on to another topic. This week, Crowder released a song called Grave Robber. So is Grave Robber going to release a song called Crowder?
I jokingly put that on Facebook that we were going to release a song called Crowder. So many people said that we should do that I'm really thinking about it heavily, and I probably have to make that decision within a day or two because it's going to take time to write and record and release it. But I would love to do that and then mimic the artwork exactly as his artwork is.
I think you should.
Oh yes,
I'm 110% behind this thing. Have you ever seen a Crowder show, Wretched?
I have.
They got like
Actually,
13 guys on stage and dead animals and like little people running around in elf costume. I mean, he's got a huge production on stage.
Yes, he does. To be honest with you, I'm actually a fan. I actually love David Crowder. I think he's amazing.
I am too.
We are both fans here.
Anytime he comes around, I try to go see Crowder.
Yeah. I'm just jealous of his beard. I'm trying to get, I'm jealous of his beard. I'm trying to get there.
The only people not jealous of David Crowder's beard are Duck Dynasty.
Well, now
I'm not even able to grow a beard on this.
But you have better hair than he does. So, there we go.
Yeah, it's a trade-off.
That's even questionable. I mean,
I don't doubt for a minute that Crowder's going, Richard's got a nice head of hair. I could go for some dreads, man.
I actually wonder if he's even aware of us. I don't know if he knows. I'm hoping that if we do release a song called Crowder, that it gets into his hands somehow. I think it'd be very funny.
I mean, I don't know the guy's sense of humor, but if I receive something like that, I would think it's awesome.
On Instagram, every Monday, he posts something that's really funny.
Yeah.
He finds these things, or somebody in his party finds it and he posts it on Instagram. So he definitely has a very good sense of humor. And so, yeah.
Well, here's a story I have. I have a friend from Nashville, and she literally took her life into her own hands and went to McDonald's. And she was standing in line behind a guy at McDonald's. And suddenly this guy ripped the biggest fart ever. And he turned around and looked at her and he said, of course, in his hillbilly accent, "Man, I bet you thought when you woke up this morning, I bet you didn't think that David Crowder was going to fart on you, did you?" So I wasn't there. I cannot verify that's a true story, but she said it happened. And if it happened, it makes me even more of a David Crowder fan.
Oh, man. If we ever meet Crowder, we gotta ask him.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'll slap your name on it, Wretched. Wretched told me the story about you.
Yeah. Generally, that happens after the McDonald's, but
yeah.
I digress.
Well, do you find yourself, active at McDonald's? I mean, Grave Robber, McDonald's, they kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
McDonald's is the reason my face looks like this. No more. I gave up McDonald's and most fast food over 20 years ago. I just don't eat it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Boring
I think as
answer, but I just don't.
No, I think as I get older, I go, no, I'll pass. No. Yeah, I mean, it was one thing when I was a teenager. Now it's just totally different. But the band's been around 18 years. 18 years. And I hope I'm not out of line. I saw on your Facebook that you're currently looking for a drummer.
And I might have made a decision that I wasn't going to look for a drummer anymore. We're going to record and probably just hire a drummer for the studio for the next couple of things. But at this point, I'm not going to even look for one. I'm going to trust in the Reanimator to bring one, because every drummer that I've chosen hasn't worked out. And maybe that's the problem. So at this point, I'm just going to wait and see what he brings into the fold.
All right. And I'll see. I even read this. I'll spare the Spinal Tap jokes, Wretched.
It's one. We lost our first drummer 16 years ago, and it's been the same joke ever since. It wore out its welcome after about 5 minutes.
Well, it's one of my favorite movies, and if I hadn't read that, I definitely would have mentioned the Spinal Tap moment. But now that I know, and we've already mentioned the Spinal Tap moment, I'll move on.
Yeah, well, much appreciated.
Yeah, okay. Hey, so now Halloween's coming past. Do you like hand out, treats to the kids and stuff, or do you do shows on Halloween? I would assume you're kind of in demand around that period.
Yeah, I've said this for years. We get very, very popular in October, and then our popularity drops drastically on November 1st. So, but no, I'm usually not around to hand out candy or anything like that. But I would, I'm. Of course, there are the two camps. One camp that says Halloween is an evil holiday, and then you have the other camp that says there's no. Like for me, I believe that he who is in me is greater than he who is in the world, and so I have no fear of Halloween or that I'm somehow accidentally celebrating Satan. I think that's ludicrous. I don't. It's not like you slip on a banana peel and worship Lucifer, and it's. I don't believe that's possible. And I'm sorry, but I'm just not going to demonize Power Ranger or a Disney princess coming to my door trying to gank a fun-sized Snicker bar, and then somehow summoning the Dark Lord on my porch. I think there's far too many followers of the Reanimator who have bought into some of the fear mongering. And, I saw the quote supposedly by Anton LaVey that that Halloween is the highest night of worship for a Satanist. Well, that's just not true. As a young lad, I read the Satanic Bible. And in there, he says the highest holiday for a Satanist is your own birthday. Because
Really?
Satanism is all about self-worship and self-elevation and not submitting to the Reanimator. So Halloween, and even if it had pagan origins, no one in my neighborhood anyway is outwardly doing pagan things. They're just dressing up their kids and getting candy from the neighbors and whatever Halloween or Samhain or whatever pagan holiday it was thousands of years ago. It's just not the same thing today. No one's doing that. And so I've got that's my take on it. Agree or not, that's just where I am. Or, I love the idea that for one night a year, all of my neighbors are out saying hello to each other when 364 days a year, we don't even know each other exist. So
I
we're at
said
least one night we're greeting.
Yeah, I said the exact same thing, that with all the trunk or treats, nobody's getting out there and talking to their neighbors anymore. They're just, well, let's go hit up that parking lot where all these people are handing out candy, and we're done. It's over. Now, I understand both sides of the Halloween belief. However, my feeling on it is dressing up as, Woody from Toy Story to celebrate the pagan holiday of Halloween is like dressing up like the Easter Bunny to celebrate Easter. One really has nothing to do with the other.
No, not at all. Not at all. And so there are a lot of things in the world that people like to call evil or look at and say that it's evil or develop a very strong opinion of. But we should be looking at real evil, the things that scripture says are evil, hearts that plot wicked schemes, things of that nature. The most evil place on planet Earth, well, it's a good case could be made that it's Washington, D.C., but I digress. The most wicked place, the most wicked place on planet Earth is human mind.
True
what we're
that.
capable of thinking. If the three of us knew what each other is thinking all the time, there's a good possibility we wouldn't even like each other. We certainly probably wouldn't even talk if we really knew what people think. I'm ashamed of my own thoughts many times. I mean, have you ever been to Walmart? It will make you think. It will make you think things you shouldn't think about other people.
Like,
and the judgments
like
that
you
we
shouldn't really be
naturally-
wearing that. You should put on more clothes.
right. There's that, and also, it's like, hey, Why don't you eat a salad once in a while? Things like that. I could afford a salad occasionally myself, so how dare I get so judgmental? But
Yeah.
that's the point, that we naturally make those kind of assumptions about people, or see somebody who looks a little bit quote unquote scary, and we make judgments about them. Thank God that we don't have the ability to know what we're all thinking at all times.
Well, most people would say the face of evil looks like you. And I would argue the face of evil looks something more like Barbara Streisand.
Well, Alice Cooper said that he didn't believe the devil was a red guy with horns and a pitchfork. He said that's deviled ham.
Deviled ham.
He said he believed that Satan probably looks more like Brad Pitt, and I think he's right. I don't. I personally don't think that this is what evil looks like. I think evil looks like a banker in a three-piece suit, as I guarantee you. That
Yeah.
banker is going to work and maybe doing some things that are not right. But again, I can't judge that, because that would be judging his sin, not my sin. I still do. As much as I hate it, I still do. And in fact, we can read in First John that anybody who says they don't sin is a liar. The good news in
True.
chapter 3 is that you remain in him, you won't sin, which is a progressive verb text, meaning the more you remain in him, the less you will. And the real key is you'll stop loving your sin. I hate my sin with every fiber of my being. Do I still do it? Yes. Do I love it? No. That's the difference. That is the key to a repentant, regenerated heart.
Well, and I think that's a lot of what you're seeing today is no repentance. Take it for whatever you want to label it on. The riots or the looting or the just the way you treat your neighbor.
Right? That's exactly right. And in this culture, if you make a mistake 20 years ago and you've grown, doesn't matter. You're still guilty of that crime 20 years ago. I said words or used phrases in high school that I would not use now. If somebody were to uncover that in a recording or a photo or a writing, they could destroy me with something that happened way back then. It's a strange
Yeah.
season in a
Well,
strange culture that doesn't believe in forgiveness anymore, no matter how much they claim to believe in it.
I think we're starting to see more and more that those that live in glass houses really do throw a lot of stones. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed. Absolutely.
I mean,
That's the problem.
the cancel culture that comes out, and suddenly you find out that the person that called for all the canceling is now getting canceled because something surfaced from 20 years ago that they said on whatever. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous and it's stupid. I don't subscribe to it. I just go, whatever, if that suits you, whatever floats your boat.
I would prefer to forgive somebody immediately. Now, am I always successful? No, sometimes I need some time, depending on the offense. I need to process. I need to go have a nice long sit down with myself and remind myself that if I can be forgiven, anyone can.
Hey, so I want to talk about the compilation disc, where you covered some Metallica songs.
Yes.
That just came out recently, right?
Yes, that was super exciting. We got asked to do it, and I've always loved the song Escape by Metallica. But here's my opinion, and I love Metallica. always have. That song, as short as it is, to me had a bunch of guitar parts that kind of meandered and didn't go anywhere. It's like I always wanted that song to be cropped down to less than 3 minutes long. So I thought, well, here's my chance. So we sped it up. We gave it more punk rock. We cut a bunch of riffs out of it and just made it one nice, short, concise song. So that was fun. And there's all the bands that are on that compilation just did absolutely wonderful jobs and renditions, and most of them took their own take on the songs, as most of the bands were punk rock bands, so they didn't try to sound like metal. They tried to sound like themselves playing a Metallica song. So everyone kind of had the same approach, really, at the end of the day. So it made for a very, very solid compilation.
And it's called Garage Years, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so Garage Years, and who all jumped in on this?
Oh, so many bands I can never remember all the names, but most of them are punk rock bands from Indiana and Ohio, mostly. The label Coffin Curse, of course, had most of their or a lot of their roster on it. Viceroy Kings, who we're friends with, were the ones that actually reached out to us and got us on the compilation.
Oh,
The Viceroy Kings, their song is spectacular, very good.
and I noticed the few tracks that I listened to that these are not necessarily the big Metallica songs that you know right off the bat. If you're not a true fan of Metallica, you're not going to recognize some of these songs. Am I correct? Am I correct?
Yeah, I would say that's true. It's been a minute since I looked at the track listing, but I remember that there was probably two of the really, really big hits, and most of them, and I think that partly has to do with the fact that it's mostly punk rock bands on it. So
Yeah. Well, so here's some of the tracks. You got Reckless Threat and Motor Breath, which I mean, a true Metallica fan's going to recognize Motor Breath, but
yes,
a surface Metallica fan whose favorite album is the Black Album and thinks it's the greatest Metallica album of all time. I'm speaking of somebody in the room here, might not recognize Motor Breath.
so that's you, Eric Brindley.
Guilty.
Billy Bats in Battery. I've never heard of Billy Bats, but because I'm a big Mob fan, I'm very interested in going checking out Billy Bats. But Battery is one of my favorite Metallica songs. Low Season, Damage Inc., The Migraines, Creepin' Death, which is a great Metallica song. And here you go, Grave Robber and Escape from Ride the Lightning. The Viceroy Kings, Trapped Under Ice. DOS, am I saying it right, or is it DOS? DOS or DOS?
Yes.
What's that? Say that again.
DOS. Yes.
Oh, DOS. Okay. Fight Fire with Fire and No Loves Jump in the Fire. So yeah, it's kind of some deeper cuts. But what I really liked about it was everybody really had their own take. Like, when you listen to a cover and you go, yeah, that's a cover of Metallica song. I guess they're doing okay. So they're trying to sound like Metallica. This was not anybody trying to sound like Metallica. It was truly new takes on Metallica songs.
Yes. Some of the songs not even recognizable musically as Metallica, but it's clearly recognizable that it's the song.
Right.
So I thought that was really great.
Yeah,
like the Viceroy Kings. It doesn't sound like Metallica whatsoever, but when you listen to the song, you know what song it is.
Right. And see, that's what I think makes a great cover or tribute song or something like that, when you truly make it your own. When
we just recorded, why not? I'm here. Here's the premiere, or I guess
we got an
the
exclusive
announcement here.
We got an exclusive premiere.
there's a new compilation coming out of bands covering the entire album Earth AD by the Misfits. And we
Ah,
have the title track Earth AD. Now, in this case, we did the opposite. We tried to make it sound as exactly to the Misfits as we could. And I'll be honest with you, I think we nailed it. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back because I would be honest if I didn't think it wasn't on point. But it ended up sounding exactly like the Misfits. So I was very excited about that. I think there's two ways you could do a cover too. Either you do something completely new and different and unique, or you nail it. So you have to do one or the other for
right.
me to find enjoyment in that. Because I like it when I hear bands really nail a Misfits cover or really nail a Ramones cover, whatever. But the thing that bothers me the most is most guitar players don't downpick. Both Metallica, the Misfits, the Ramones downpick on the guitar, which means every note is struck down. And
Right.
most of them just strum. And when you strum, it's a very different sound. And some people would argue that, but I would argue back. No, it's different, and I can hear a difference. So when you downpick, you can make it sound more authentic. So that's what we did that on our Metallica cover is all downpicked, and our Misfits cover is all downpicked. So I know that may sound like big deal, but it does make a difference because it makes a difference to the overall sound of the song. But so that is coming out, our cover of Earth AD, and we get to release both of those as singles later on, and so that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited now. Um, I truly am looking forward to that. I want to check that out. And now, seeing as you're a big Misfits and Metallica fan, I'll have to throw out that Aaron and I both saw the Misfits and Metallica on the same festival, and it was fantastic.
There was that.
That was Aftershock, what,
Oh,
22?
yeah.
Yeah.
21. 21?
Yeah.
I think it was 21.
21. Yeah.
Yeah. Metallica played 2 nights. And honestly, I think that's where they got the idea of playing the 2 separate nights of completely different shows, because that's what they did. And the Misfits headlined one of the nights. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. I
That's
want to
awesome.
I want to talk about another song you nailed. One of my favorite Christmas songs is Mama Got Ran Over by Reindeer. But my new favorite Christmas song is Grandma Got Half Eaten by a Zombie. And
And
that
the video's
is
fantastic.
yes, that is the song. Everything is just great. And so
We
Grandma
really didn't have to change a whole lot, just a couple words.
yes, but gone is Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, and now on my Christmas playlist is Grandma Got Half Eaten by a Zombie.
And go
I have
ahead,
a brand
Wretched.
new, I have a brand new Christmas song, Wretched solo Christmas song coming out December 8th, which is I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus. There's a underground horror film called Christmas Revenge that's coming out, and during the credits at the end, my song plays at the end. So
Oh,
that's coming
really?
out. Yeah, and I'm releasing it as a single December 8th. It should
Nice.
go out to radio anytime.
Nice. Now one of my favorite Christmas songs of all time just happens to be a Christmas song that you do as well, Father Christmas. I love that song. Since I heard that when I was a kid by the Kinks, I just went, it totally captures the poverty end of Christmas for people. And I think that's
and the,
missed.
and a criticism of consumerism. So I like it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, and absolutely, but it's done in such a punk rock way because they go beat up the Santa Claus who's ringing the
Right.
bell and stuff like that. It's
Exactly.
because they don't have any money. They don't have any money for
Right.
Christmas. So
I don't know if you heard my solo Christmas album, but that one was one where I did uh, some of my favorites, like Merry Christmas, Everybody by Slade. And I did I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day by Wizard. I did, and then I did um, uh, What Child Is This, which was always one of my favorites. And I did a
Awesome.
couple more too. I can't remember them off the top of my head. We've got quite a collection of Christmas songs between myself and Grave Robbers. So there's quite a growing list of things. We did a Christmas toy drive a couple of years ago, right? I think it was right before COVID, where we just went out and we put Santa hats on, and our bass player wore elf ears, and we added things to the costume to make them Christmas, and kind of made it silly, and then went out and played all of our Christmas songs on a 4-day run and collected toys for tots. And I'm looking forward to doing that again. But as of right now, we don't have a drummer, so our plans for this year fell through.
Well, I play a mean cowbell if you need help.
Well,
No.
at this point,
Give me a
anything
call.
helps.
Yeah, give me a call whenever you need a cowbell. And tambourine.
Yes.
And triangle. I got the really difficult instruments down.
Yes.
But it seems so odd that Grave Robber, is so heavily into Christmas, but the Christmas stuff you do is just so fantastic. It's awesome. And can we play? Do we have your permission to play a couple of those songs? Can we do that? He shook his head first and then nodded, so I'm not sure.
No, absolutely.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, because I would love to throw in Grandma Got Eaten by a half eaten by a zombie and Father Christmas, because I dig those songs.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
One
that'd
of
be
my
fan-
favorites that we did is we covered We're a Couple of Misfits from Rudolph.
Yeah, the
Lot of
Misfit
fun.
Toys. That I noticed that one too. I was like, and that's a song that nobody thinks about at Christmas until you hear it and you go, oh yeah, that's awesome. I do have to ask, so when will you be covering All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Already have. Last year
Have
we
you really?
We have. Last year we released an EP called Xmas is the Worst. And we asked people on our Facebook page what the worst Christmas songs were. Of course, we already had 5 of them picked out, but we still asked what everyone else thought. Surprisingly, a lot of people really hated Little Drummer Boy, which I don't really hate it, but we ended up recording it anyway as one of the worst, just because so many people said they hated that song for whatever reason. But my the songs I can't stand, these are the ones that are on the EP from last year, are Last Christmas by Wham.
Ah,
Just
I hate that
makes
song.
me vomit.
I hate that song.
Let's see, Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time.
Oh, see, one of my favorites, Paul McCartney.
I am one of the biggest Paul McCartney fans on the planet, but if I could scrub that song, it would be gone forever.
See, and
But we
that song puts a bounce in my step. Every time I hear it, I go, yeah, it's Christmas time. I feel better about myself.
What is wrong with you, Dave? So anyway,
we don't have much. We don't have that
ear of
much
the
time.
Ear of the beholder, I suppose.
Yes.
So that one, and All I Want for Christmas Is You, The Little Drummer Boy, and I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas. Horrible song. Oddly enough, I think our version of Want a Hippopotamus came out really, really good.
I
Almost
haven't-
too good.
I haven't checked out Hippopotamus. I'll have to check that one out.
Well,
Now,
Look up Xmas is the Worst.
yeah,
That's our tribute to terrible Christmas songs.
and there's a skeleton on there with an ugly Christmas sweater and a Santa cap with a shovel, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
now let me run down these. Little Drummer Boy, I think, is an okay song, I think it can be a great song. I have not heard your version, but I don't know why people like to eliminate the drums from the Little Drummer Boy song, because I say put 2 drum kits on it and it's fantastic.
Well, that's for King and Country does.
Yeah.
That's like their best song they do live, and we're gonna go see them in a few weeks here in Sacramento, and we are both, me and my wife will be like, they're gonna play at the end and we're gonna love it. So
If
they do a good take.
if there was like a group of people like the Deadheads that follow, King and Country around,
Yeah.
Aaron and his wife would be just traveling the country following King and Country to every show.
But I think Jars of Clay did the best version of Little Drummer Boy years ago.
I don't remember theirs.
Yeah,
but
they did a good job.
I just
my favorite version of Little Drummer Boy of all time was Joan Jett. I love that version.
I don't even
Yes.
know that version.
No.
The one that's
Yes.
popping into
Very-
my
very-
mind is Whiteheart, though, because Whiteheart did a Little Drummer Boy. I was a
Right.
big Whiteheart fan. So, now Aaron, it's not a surprise for Aaron, but I happen to be a fan of All I Want for Christmas Is You. I like that song.
Yes.
The interview is over. We're done.
I know it's one of my guilty pleasures.
Yes.
But see, I don't seek it out, or it pops on and go, it's a good Christmas song.
It's the most
Okay.
played Christmas song ever. It's you can't
Okay, hold
avoid
on,
it.
hold on,
Okay.
hold on. Guilty pleasure song. The song that you would be embarrassed to admit. Aaron, what's yours?
Oh, that would have to be one. I gotta
I can give you mine.
go ahead. Give me.
I can give you mine right off the top of my head. Call Me Maybe from Carly Rae Jepsen. Love that song.
What is yours? As I check here real quick.
I have 2 that are equally as embarrassing. I'm a Chameleon by Culture Club
Yeah.
and I Want It That Way by Backstreet Boys. It's songwriting wise, it's a flawless song.
It really is, though.
It's a flawless song. The only reason it's bad is because it was the Backstreet Boys. I've heard other bands cover it, punk rock bands cover it, and it's a great song.
Yeah, like there's a cover of Bye 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 out there by some punk band. I'm like, that's a good song. I actually like that song. It's what you're saying is it's good songwriting. It's presentation that gave it the guilty pleasure moniker,
One day, my daughters were listening to some music, and I thought it sounded like kind of punk rock. Not really, but kind of. And I thought, those are really good songs. And so I walked in. I said, "What are you listening to?" And they said, "Oh, Dad, this is the first Jonas Brothers record." What?
Yeah.
Never would have thought.
Yeah, there's
Royals by
Lord.
yeah, Royals and that's
It's a great
that's one
song.
of yes, I have loved that song, but the other ones you mentioned I thought were very good too. The Taylor Swift, what was that one she has? Her Shake It Off.
Oh yeah.
I can get into that a little bit too.
I can't.
Okay.
Anything Taylor Swift, I just go, no.
We were driving down the highway somewhere in either Wisconsin or Minnesota, going down the highway, and our bass player put on the Spotify was playing a song by Savage Garden. I didn't know the song. I said, who is this? He says, "This is Savage Garden." Like, oh, okay. He said, "This is one of my favorite songs." Our drummer said, "Well, next play this song." He said the title. And we put that on. "Well, who's that?" "Well, that's Savage Garden." Guitar player, "Well, I like this song." "Well, who's that?" "Well, it's Savage Garden." And I said, "Well, the Savage Garden song I like is and I named the song title, and it turns out that all the members of Grave Robber were fans of Savage Garden. Who would have ever known that? We didn't even know that.
And you had a moment like Tommy Boy just cruising down the road, all singing your guilty pleasures together.
Yes. Yeah, we went live on Facebook on our Facebook page and showed people that we were listening to Savage Garden, and there were certain people that wouldn't let us forget that for another 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Also, I'm a big Staying Alive Bee Gees fan too, so I can I can get into that.
We're both products of the 70s, so
Yeah,
there's always that. I mean, I'm an ABBA fan. I like ABBA.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 70s. It's so wrong for me.
Yeah,
but
we're no longer friends, Dave.
Yeah.
It's funny how
folks.
Hey, Mamma Mia was a good movie.
It's funny how some of those songs from the 70s or 80s that at the time don't like it, and then later on, like Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics, now I listen to it and it's like that's as my daughter would say, that's a bop, and I didn't like it at the time, but
And
now
now
I listen to it and I like it.
you say you have 2 daughters, right?
Yes,
Okay. And I'm sure they're
and 2 sons.
Oh, 2 daughters, 2 sons. Okay. See, I was going to say, I was blessed with a son instead of a daughter because I don't think I could have handled the dad-daughter thing. I would have been so bad at that. And when my son was, I'm going to say he was like, I don't know, 8 years old, something like that. We got him a Target card for Christmas. And he said, took him to Target, said, you can buy whatever you want. You buy yourself a toy or whatever. And he went to the CD section. And I went, oh, he's going to buy a Kids Bop CD. Yeah, well, that'll be fun to listen to in the car. Okay, well, and he comes back and he kind of shy like he says to me, he goes, hey Dad, can I picked one out? Can I buy this one? And he was holding the AC/DC Back in Black, and I went, yes, you can buy that one. Good choice.
Tears of joy,
right? Now, if I had daughters and they came up with the Taylor Swift, I'd go, yeah, you could buy that one. Sure, that's great, honey.
Yes.
Yes, of course, because you're
yeah.
Although we went to Riot Fest this past summer, and like all of my kids love the Foo Fighters, and all of my kids, when the Cure headlined one night, and they were all into the Cure, which made me happy. But they all love Flogging Molly, and they all loved. Well, my youngest daughter, one of the shows that we saw was H2O, old school hardcore band, and she was like, Dad, that was one of my favorite sets of the festival. And I'm like,
yeah,
that hurt.
When my son, he's 28 now, but when he's bringing over Dropkick Murphys and Rancid, and I'm like, yeah, I guess I did something right.
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned Flogging Molly. We went to a Punkin Drublick show that was put on by Fat Mike of No Effects. No Effects. Am I? Yes. I always get.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was a great show. It was Goldfinger and Lesson Jake and Flogging Molly and No Effects and some other bands that I don't remember. But we were very up at the front at the rail, and there was a person behind us that, there's always that one person in the crowd that it doesn't matter how long you've been there, they're going to be in front of you, and you're just a jerk if you don't let them in front of you. And we had one of those people, and she was intoxicated, and she was doing things like kicking us, and she kicked my son in a very, an area you don't want to be kicked in. And he reacted. He didn't hit her or anything, but he wanted to. And anyways, they finally ejected this woman from the crowd, and the lead singer of Flogging Molly, who had seen it all, he came over with a Guinness and tossed my son a Guinness from the stage, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. Dave King is probably one of the nicest guys in the music industry. He's a good guy.
See, I don't know a lot about the band. I know the band and I know Dropkick Murphys. Now we saw Dropkick Murphys on that same festival with Rancid and the Misfits and oh man, they brought it down. If I can go see a Dropkick Murphys Rancid show on their own, fantastic.
I would tell you what, we just saw Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper together, and I'm thinking, we the world needs a Alice Cooper grave robber tour.
Yeah,
that would be
I think
fantastic.
I think Grave Robber would fit perfectly with an Alice Cooper show.
Yes, it'd be great.
I do too. A lot of those big shows are buy-ons, and sometimes a buy-on can be anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 to buy onto a tour, and it's very expensive. But that might be something that I'm kind of thinking that maybe Grave Robber will look for investors maybe next year, and maybe we could try to buy onto a bigger tour.
Maybe we do a crowdfunding for Grave Robber to get a buy on a good tour like Rob Zombie or Alice Cooper. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I would just guess that Alice Cooper tour would be between 10 to 20 grand to buy on. I'm not sure, but Rob Zombie would definitely be about 20 grand just to get on the tour.
Well, now see, pulling back the curtain a little bit, I know some bands look down at buy-ons, and I don't. I think that each band is individual, and whatever is going to get you noticed and get people in the seats, and if that works for you, I think you should do it. It's a business decision at that point.
I mean, and that's just the reality. That's why we've remained where we're at. We've never bought onto a tour. We don't have a manager. We don't have a booking agent. So here we are. It takes those things to really get off the launch pad. And we just haven't, in 18 years, we just haven't got off the launch pad. And that's just the reality of it.
Well, you say get off the launch pad, and I don't think that's necessarily true because, I mean, if we're going to compare things like the Misfits, I mean, you're talking about a huge band that has a cult following.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a mainstream following. A lot of people don't know who the Misfits are. But man, they packed out that festival. I mean, we couldn't get up close to the stage. We were watching it on the screens. It was packed.
Yes.
So Aftershock gets about 40,000 people, and it seemed like there were 40,000 people there watching them.
Yes.
So anyhow, Wretched, thank you so much for coming on today. I wish we could spend more time. You definitely have to come back. And so we got the new Metallica tribute album called Garage Years. That's out, right?
Yes.
And you've got the Grandma Kissing Santa song.
I saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Oh, sorry, Grandma. I just combined two songs there, Aaron. Grandma got eaten by a zombie and Kissing Santa Claus. All right. But the Kissing Santa Claus was never, even as a kid, I just never got into that one, and my two front teeth.
No,
I found
me neither.
I found the two front teeth one to just be really annoying. Like I kind of wanted to punch that kid.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And you are letting the Reanimator bring you a drummer, which I think that's a good choice. And what else do you have going on right now? Because it sounds like you got a lot going on.
Yeah, the Misfits cover, which will be coming out shortly. I don't know the exact date, but it'll be coming out soon. Then we have we'll be recording a new EP next year and a full length next year.
Nice. And then I saw on your Facebook that you're actually offering Grave Robber dice, right?
We have a company that is going to create dice with our logo on it. Yes.
Those things are really cool for like game night.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah, I
are.
was happy with
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
really cool.
I, a lot of people criticize Gene Simmons for putting the Kiss logo on everything, and for me, I just thought that was fun. When I was growing up, I had Kiss T-shirts, I had a, belt buckle, I had pencils, Kiss pencils, I had every Kiss poster, so many that it covered my walls, and you couldn't see the paint on the walls. All it was just posters, and even my ceiling, I just covered everything in my room with Kiss, and just all the things you can get, a lunchbox and everything else. Kiss action figures and stickers and whatever. So for me, anything that comes along that we can put Grave Robber on it's just fun. It's not about even the money. It's about fun. And so we have a company that makes a hot sauce, and it's like it's a
Yeah, I got to ask you about that.
Ghost pepper sauce. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that you're selling hot sauce, which I'm kind of interested in getting myself. I also noticed that you're selling coffee.
Yes.
All right, so now here's my question about the coffee, and I definitely want you to tell me about it. But is it good coffee? Because good coffee makes you poop.
Well, you shouldn't have any problem with this coffee.
All right.
Does it bring you back from the dead? That's what I want to know. Does it bring you back from the dead?
Absolutely. I just had some right before this interview. I'm not I'm not even funny. And see what happened. The coffee is more nutty, less bitter, less sour. One of our clients has horrible heartburn, and he hasn't been able to drink coffee in 20 years, and he loves coffee, and he buys our coffee because it doesn't give him heartburn. So there's that.
All right.
But so next year, a couple things that we're talking about is a book of lyrics with the guitar chords above the lyrics. So if you want to play one of the songs, it'd be like a guitar chord book, lyric book with photos and that kind of thing in it. Talking about launching a comic book. We're talking about the recordings, of course, the dice, but just try to do things that we think are fun. And again, it's not so much about the money as it is just being fun. And we just did some really nice embroidered patches and some enamel pins because these are things that we like, and so we're trying to I guess in a way it's kind of like reliving your childhood with Kiss putting their name on everything, and we're just trying to slap our name on as many items as we can because we just think that it's fun.
Well, in the style of Kiss, go ahead.
I was going to say, we don't sell millions of every product. We sell dozens of every product, and we're happy with that.
Yeah, I think it's fun too. And in the style of Kiss, I think you guys should do a Grave Robber coffin.
That would be wonderful.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. I just don't want the Kiss had toilet paper. I don't want Grave Robber toilet paper. I don't want somebody wiping their butt on my face. No, thank you.
So if they go to your Facebook page, they'll be able to find all the links to buy your stuff and support. Yes. More importantly, not buy your stuff, but support Grave Robber and what you're doing in those bars, in those places to promote the name or spread the name of Jesus to people that are there.
The biggest support anyone can ever be is to invite all of their friends to our page, or just, whether it be we have Twitter. Well, I guess it's called X now. We have X, Instagram, Facebook, and we do have a TikTok page, but our TikTok page is where you don't really find too much seriousness there. That's mostly silly stuff. So it's kind of fun. We don't use TikTok as often, but primarily, Facebook and Instagram is where you're going to find most of the information. But yeah, all those links are there.
And you got clips of your shows and stuff up there as well. And you can see what they're like live. And it's very
Usually,
cool.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So fantastic. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to having you again. It's Wretched from Grave Robber. Go check them out. Get yourself some playing dice and some stickers. You support the band. I'm always about supporting the bands, and the merch is how you support the band. You like a band, support them. And if you like the Misfits, you're gonna dig Grave Robber. I promise you. Check them out.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks a lot. And what do we say, Aaron?
Happy trails.
Happy trails.